All right, so just to recap again, make sure you have these supplies to be successful today. You need your science textbook. We'll use that just a little bit, not a lot. You also need your homework. You have two things due for homework. You have your page on the atom, which you read about it on the front side, and then you labeled all of its parts and pieces on the back side. We will grade that, and it is for grading. So make sure that's out and ready. Also, you had 7 questions to answer on section 2C review. C, yes, thank you. So section 2C, you had 7 questions. That will be your ticket out the door today, okay? So just make sure you turn that in. If you're joining us online, you can turn that in on Google Classroom for me. In fact, you can do the same thing with your atoms page. Just turn that in digitally. All right, so those are the supplies. Here is why you're here today. To begin with, we're going to review atoms. So that means we're going to review your work. In addition, we're going to learn about this new word. It's called taxonomy. Can you say taxonomy?
Taxonomy.
Now, the taxonomy is used in science to classify. And we're going to learn about the original classifier in science. His name was Carl Linnaeus. So we're going to learn about Carl in class today. You're going to learn how he's very important in the development of taxonomy. We got to figure out what taxonomy is first, don't we? Just a moment. Then we're going to get into 7 levels of taxonomy. You know what? I think you guys are so incredibly stellar that you can even handle new science. Your textbooks were written in 2013, and it tells us 7 levels of taxonomy. But today, many scientists have added an 8th level. Can you stellar 7th graders handle 8 levels? Yeah, I think you can. All right, so we're going to cover all 8 levels, and then we're going to get into scientific naming and how taxonomy helps us in naming organisms. All right, and finally you turn in your other homework as your ticket out the door, and you pick up your new homework. Here's your new homework for Saturday, okay? Friday. Now then, you fill in this graphic organizer on the front side, and I'll show you how to do that. Then on the back side, it's blank. I will tell you what to do on the back side, okay? So you have homework to do back there. Get our notebooks ready. Now, we're not going to use our notebooks right away, but let's at least get them ready. So everyone head to your table of contents. So table of contents, por favor. Now, in your table of contents, let's add today's title. And today's title is taxonomy. So add in taxonomy into your notebook. You'll add today's date, add the page number that you're going to be using, and you guys just simply get your notebooks ready. Do a review of atoms now that your notebooks are ready. Now, in reviewing atoms, you need your homework. So go ahead and pull that out. Remember, on the front side, you were to read the front side of that work. Then on the back side, you simply labeled the parts and pieces of an atom. So let's all pull that out and make sure that's out in front of you, please. Now, let's do just a quick little mini review. As you know, I said this is like God's pantry, right? Anything and everything you've experienced in life is made of atoms. That means God made anything and everything. All matter is made of atoms. Do you matter?
Yes.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you matter. You're made of atoms.
Really?
Anything made of atoms is matter, right? It takes up space. So all these atoms build up anything and everything you know. So let's review atoms quickly. Now, on your handout, you are to read about them, read about their parts and pieces. What I'm going to do is ask you to organize or classify. I want you to classify some terms from largest to smallest, okay? And you'll do this on the front side of your homework. So this is just a little practice for you. So right here in the corner, I'm going to give you some words. You, on your own paper, just organize these words from the largest to the smallest. Now by largest, I don't mean the word that has the most letters, but which one's actually truly the largest. So here we go. Take a look at the list and then see if you have questions. All right, here's our list. We're going to order these things according to their size from largest to smallest. So here's our first item. Atoms. You know, they're tiny. How do they compare in size to an organism? One entire living organism. How does that compare in size to cells? What about molecules? How big are molecules in this list? And then protons and neutrons, obviously parts of atoms on your handout. And then finally, electrons. Electrons are constantly on the move, going around and around and around the nucleus. So what you do is you take this list of words and organize it, classify it basically, from largest to smallest. Is that list largest to smallest right now?
No.
No. So you guys redo this list on your homework paper. So our order is organism, that's the largest. Organisms are made of cells, and then cells are made of molecules. And molecules are made of?
Atoms.
Atoms. Okay. So we have two remaining. Based on the reading, protons and neutrons or electrons, which one or ones are bigger? Which ones are larger? Drew?
Protons and neutrons.
Protons and neutrons? Absolutely. They're larger. In fact, that's where we get the atomic mass. In other words, how much an atom weighs. Now then, the smallest part of an atom is its electrons, okay? The electrons are the ones whizzing around and going around and around in the nucleus. But Zoel, I know you know something. So I'm going to call on you.
Yeah.
Zoel, electrons are even made of parts and pieces too. Do you
Quarks.
know? What?
Quarks.
Well, that's a quirky answer. You're right. Electrons are made of quarks. I knew you already knew. Taxonomy. What in the world is taxonomy? You can think of it like this cute little picture. A filing cabinet stuffed with organisms.
Okay.
Interesting. So basically, taxonomy is a way to classify and organize living things. We classify all the time, don't we? In science, we classify living organisms. So in your notes, let's add a definition for taxonomy. It's when we classify living organisms in science. We've been doing this for years. What we're going to do is learn about the classification system that exists, that really cool scientists have put together for us. Now, I don't know if you realize this or not, but we've been doing a lot of classification in class already. You classify in your notes, you put your title, your page number, today's date. That's classification, right?
Right.
We've classified our lesson. We've covered atoms first. Now we're moving into taxonomy. So you can see we classify life all the time. All right. So in taxonomy, we're classifying living things, aren't we? So what we're going to do here next is we're going to discover why. Why do we need to classify? How does that help us? Why should I care? There are two reasons we classify in life science. The first one is to make generalizations. What? All right, so write this down, then I'll explain what it means. To make generalizations. When we classify things, we can learn key and cool characteristics about individual organisms. So, for example, let's say you travel on a really cool vacation, you go somewhere else in the world, and you find this really interesting creature, but you don't know what it is. So what you can do is look at characteristics about it and see if it fits into a group. And from that, learn So let's say you find some kind of little crawly worm-looking thing. You don't know what it is. What you can do is take characteristics about it and put it in a group to learn more. So would that worm-like creature, would it have a backbone?
No.
No. Let's say you see it sloughing off and molting its skin, which is really cool. Can you think of a group of animals that molt their skin?
Insects.
Ooh, reptiles do.
What about snakes?
But would it be a reptile if it doesn't have a
No.
backbone?
Let's see.
What other animals
I don't.
shed their skin?
Dogs.
That's their
Well,
fur.
Insects.
Insects, right? Arthropods. Arthropods shed their outer shell. So would it be beneficial to go, oh, this is probably an arthropod, maybe specifically a bug, and then you could get a bug field guide out to help you identify it?
Who would have a bug field guide?
I do.
You.
Well, there's
You don't
probably-
care.
I have a bird guy.
There's probably
Me
some
too.
out there.
Arkansas bird guy.
So you can see if you found that mystery organism, you can get certain characteristics about it. Second reason we classify. Another reason is to find information. So like our example of our bug. You can take what you know about it to identify more information about it, right? So classification simply helps us learn more information about a living organism. All right, so how many reasons do we discover? Everybody? Two main reasons we classify, right? Now, the next thing we're going to do is learn about the scientist. The scientist who developed the classification system we know of today and use today. He identified this years ago. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and put his picture on the screen here in just a moment.
It's the creature.
Ladies, remain calm. Remain calm. He was a handsome guy.
Really? Oh no.
He's gonna be
no.
super ugly.
No.
Gentlemen, I think we should bring back his hairstyle.
No.
Let me see.
It's not a mullet, is it?
All right.
It's a-
I had a mullet for a long time. Do not offend
Yes,
mullets.
I know.
So you guys ready for him?
Yes.
Right?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
His name was Carl, for short. Carlos Linnaeus. And here is what he looked like.
Oh, yes.
I told you he was handsome.
It's a wig though.
It's,
That was
it's
actual.
not that bad. It's just not a person that say attractive.
I didn't.
No.
I thought it was gonna be some
I'm-
gross animal.
I mean,
or
in this
something.
time.
Obviously-
I mean, in this time.
Obviously, he lived a long time ago,
I thought it
right?
was gonna be some
Yeah.
gross animal, and I was like,
You do need to know his name. You need to know that he was the one who invented the classification
You just
system
need to know Carl
that
or-
we're going to learn about. We can just call him Carl. It's fine.
I
Carl's
wasn't
like-
finished writing the other one before.
True.
So Carl Linnaeus, you need to know him by name. He will be on your upcoming test, which is probably a week and a half to 2 weeks down the road. And then he invented a classification system that uses 7 levels of classification. In fact, you identified this on your homework, didn't you? You need to know the 7 levels of classification. In fact, we need to add those to our notes as well. So you need to know that Carl Linnaeus is the one behind these 7 levels.
Oh. Wait, classification,
Now-
Philip?
So levels of classification, yeah, that's great. Kingdom is the largest. There are 6 kingdoms out there. The animal kingdom is probably most common to you. Plant kingdom. There are 2 bacterial kingdoms. The protist kingdom and fungi. So kingdom is the largest grouping. Then phylum comes next. And then smaller than that is class. Smaller than that is order. Smaller than that is family. And eventually you get down all the way to the very bottom, which is one individual species. One specific type of living organism. Now, what I'll do is I'll give you an example. And don't worry, these 7 levels will still be on the screen, okay?
So a dog is a genus or not a species?
Well, eventually you're going to get down to the individual species.
So then the type of dog would be the species.
Well, we'll get there, okay? Let me show you. So here is an example, and like I say, it's still on the screen, so don't worry. Here's an example for you. We have here the grizzly bear, which is classified to its individual species. Okay. So up here at the top, we have the kingdom. Grizzly bears are obviously in the animal kingdom, right? Then we have its phylum. This one's called chordata. That means it has a cord, a backbone. So all these organisms have backbones now, don't they? So notice the starfish is gone. Then, for class, we have just the mammals. So the reptilian snake is gone. Then we bust it down into a smaller group, the order. This order is all the carnivores, all the meat eaters. So notice the squirrel has disappeared. Then we get family. Family down here, bear-like family. Genus, a specific type of bear family. And then species, Ursus arctica. So that is an example of how to classify a grizzly bear. Now then, let me explain your homework here just quickly. I'm sorry, I know the bell rang. I'll try to get at you quickly. On your homework for Friday, you will have this graphic organizer. You must use your textbook to fill it out. In fact, you have to use the appendix. Now, you have an appendix in you. That's not what it's talking about.
Don't pull it out.
The appendix in the book is all the way in the back. In the back of the book, you use the appendix to fill out these 6 kingdoms. You're going to tell me characteristic about each kingdoms, and then tell me an example or examples of organisms within that kingdom. Then on the back side of your homework, you pick your favorite animal. And then you research online and you figure out what and how would I classify this animal? Which kingdom is it in? Which phylum, class, order? So you research your favorite animal, tell me how you would organize it, and then in the end, write down its scientific name under species, okay?